I'm Marissa from Reagan Ramblings.
I'm Deborah from Housewife Eclectic.
And we are sharing our favorite middle grade books today. So
Middle grade books is usually books that we recommend for kids that are about 8 to 12. They usually, sometimes they have a little bit of romance in them, but if they do have romance, it's usually very clean romance in them. So they're the perfect book to handle your middle school student and not worry about it.
yes, and a lot of times middle grade is aimed at younger too. So
Yeah.
middle school I think overlaps. Let's see. Kelly's gonna pop in for a second. Let me share this to my page to make sure people know we're on. Deborah is from Housewife Eclectic, so that's the page we're on right now, and I'm from Reagan Ramblings, and we both love books, and love to talk about them. Let's see.
We had to keep ourselves from talking about them before.
I know we were
getting excited and talking about stories and stuff.
She's like, "This is a really good one," and I'm like, "Stop talking." we need to keep our material. Okay, I see one little eyeball here. Let's see who's on with us today. Okay. Sorry, my internet's being crazy.
Yeah, it's better than my internet.
Yes, yours is a little stressful.
Yeah, I live right up, seriously, on the mountain in Utah, and we have to have range extenders. So my husband has Verizon and I've got T-Mobile, and we have to have range extenders for both, or our phones won't even work in our house.
Are you serious?
Isn't that crazy? Because we live so far up the mountain.
Oh, that's frustrating.
So,
okay, who's here with us? I see a couple little eyeballs. Tell us where you're watching from. We are here in Salt Lake City today, and we're going to be talking about books. So middle grade, which is 8 or 9 to 12, 13-year-olds.
So I let my second grader is a pretty proficient reader, and she reads middle grade books now. So it can kind of go from second grade to 8th grade. Of course,
and we like them. So it's
I
not
won't lie,
like
I've read all of these.
Yeah, it's not like it ends at the 12-year-olds or your teens. It just means the content is more appropriate for the little guys.
Well, and sometimes I think it's the age too of the characters. A lot of times in middle grade books, they're 12 or 13, or instead of in young adults, they're they tend to be more 17 and 18. In middle grade, they're a little bit younger.
Yeah, I was reading something yesterday, and I think the general for middle grade, a lot of times the main character is around a 10-year-old, or they start at that age, right?
And then go older.
So think Harry Potter, that kind of stuff. Hey, Katie.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
How old are your kids? I forget. Do you have anyone in this reading range? So 8 or 9 to 12, 13?
I still think, I've got a 14-year-old sister that lives with me, and most of these are ones I would recommend for her too. So.
Yes. And I love them. I mean, I think that I'm more of a YA reader, but I do think that, but every once in a while I want a middle grade book, because I don't know, it's not going to be as dark, there's not going to be any questionable moral stuff for sure. Yeah. There might be bad people.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're clearly bad. I like stories where the bad people have bad things that happen to them. They don't succeed. You know?
And something that I love about middle grade books is that I have ultra conservative parents, and my mom always asks me for book recommendations. And there's certain books like Outlander, which is a great book, but I can't recommend it to my mother. So
I've heard that's really spicy.
It's a spicy book. It's a very spicy book. So that's one thing that I love about middle grade, is that I can recommend it to anyone or any age group, and they do. I don't have to worry about language or anything like that. So
I'm just gonna share a couple times to my page, because I don't think that's been done yet. And then we can get started. So, Katie, your 11-year-old is obsessed with Harry Potter right now? Yeah. What else does she like to read? Your 11-year-old's a girl, right? I think. Okay.
We just, we are headed to Harry Potter World here in just
Oh, soon.
Couple weeks, and I'm so excited. So we promised my 7-year-old that she could build a lightsaber at Disneyland, and then she realized that since she gets to build a lightsaber, she doesn't get a Harry Potter wand, and now she's like having this moral dilemma: does she like Star Wars or Harry Potter more?
That's a really tough one because don't they have the interactive stuff?
Yeah, so I told her that I'm gonna get an interactive wand.
Oh,
for
okay,
myself.
good.
So if she chooses to not get a wand, she can use mine.
Well, that's good.
But I know
okay,
I'm totally
let me see if I got them all.
Grown up who needs their own wand.
Okay. Let me double check this. You do need a wand. If you go to Harry Potter World, where's mine? Mine's hiding around here somewhere.
Do you have an interactive wand?
Yes, it's so fun. So there's these medallions. Has anyone been to either of the Wizarding Worlds? They both in the Hollywood and in the Orlando one. They have these medallions all over the park. Well, the Harry Potter part of the park. And if you stand on them, there's something you can like point your wand. Okay, this is not my interactive wand, but doesn't everyone have random wands laying around their house?
I do.
You point it, and it like you can kind of do the spell, and it's so cool. So like all the window displays, like all the decorations, you can, and then they have these little animatronic things back there that shift and all of that. It's really awesome.
I'm super excited. So we're going to Hollywood because my brother that is just older than me is actually getting married in San Diego. So we are going to the one in Hollywood. We're totally.
I'm so jealous.
My husband thinks we're like the worst
ever.
parents ever because, you know, we waited till school started to actually take our vacation. So
cheaper. Then you don't have
more
to fight
fun,
with everyone.
less lines.
Okay, so who is hanging out here with us? I see Katie. Katie, you know what? We should all go together. We should do a trip.
Like, seriously, let's, ditch everyone and just go.
We can call it a blog or retreat. Then we don't have to worry about how the kids are doing. Okay, so today we are going to share some books, lots of books. Deborah and I each made a giant list of our favorite middle grade books. So books that are good for like 8 to 12-ish, 13 or older. So we were talking about what middle grade is. And it's basically after a chapter book before you're into like teen books.
Yeah, it's kind of after your Junie B. Jones and your Magic Tree House, but before you get to like, why can't I think of a YA book besides Twilight?
Like Twilight,
yeah.
Right? Because Twilight is definitely YA.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of romance. You've got some bedroom stuff.
Yeah.
Or at least content if they're not actually doing activities, right? We don't know who's watching.
Doing activities. That's the best euphemism I've ever heard.
And then there's also the kid in YA. They're way more on their own, right?
Yes.
They're out and about.
Yeah.
Half the time you're like, do these kids have parents?
Yeah, you're gonna see parents a lot more in middle grade types books, and not a lot of language. If there is romance, it's usually just kissing and, things like that.
And that doesn't mean the story can't be complex, right? The Harry Potter books, I think mostly are categorized as middle grade, although some of the end ones I feel like...
I would feel like 1 through 4
they kind of cross over.
middle grade.
Yeah.
1 through 4.
But when they came out, for sure, right?
Yeah.
But, so they can be complicated stories and interesting plots and all of that. But they just... don't push like super evil.
Yeah, and
and
also we were talking about how a lot of times the main protagonist of a YA book tends to be a little bit younger.
Yes.
They start at 10 or 12 instead of 17 or 18.
Yeah, for sure.
And that doesn't necessarily mean like there are definitely some YA books here where the protagonist is 17 or 18, but I think most of them start a little bit younger.
Yeah. And then I also think that there are tons of YA books that might be marketed to the older crowd, but that are super clean. And if you have an advanced reader, they would find them great. So I think we have a couple of those on our list too. But honestly, I think the main thing about the difference between middle grade and young adult is the marketing.
Yeah, it's true.
But that's important because, for middle grade, the parents are finding the books.
Yeah.
So they need to be sold in a way that the parents can look on the shelf and be like, okay, this is probably appropriate for my kid. Whereas young adult, those kids are mostly looking for their own books.
Well, and I think that's one of the big things that's important about what makes a great middle grade book is that I don't, if I don't find a book interesting, I don't know that my 7-year-old's going to find it interesting either. So all of these books that we're sharing today are all books that we have read. One of us has read. So a lot of them we've both read, but that one or the other of us has read. So that it's something that we're, we know that our kids are going to find interesting. And that's another thing that, Marissa and I strive to do is we make sure that we don't tell you to go check out books that neither of us have read.
Yeah. So
that we know that these are good books.
Like, for example, Wonder. I've heard amazing things about Wonder, but I haven't read it. So I was like, I'm not going to put it on my list. I'll just write a second list after I read that one, right?
Well, Wonder was one of those books that it didn't make my list because I honestly forgot. I went to write it on my list and then,
There's so many good books. Yeah. So many.
But Wonder is definitely a great one.
Lorraine, what are some of your favorites? Okay, shall we start?
Yes. What do you want to start with one we've both read or what do you want to start with?
Ooh. I see some on your list that I've been meaning to read.
Do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, I have read that one.
Okay. This Princess Academy is actually a trilogy, but it didn't really start out as a trilogy, so if you just want to read the first one or the first two, or it's definitely one of those books that you could do that with.
There was quite a gap between the first one and the rest of them.
So how old is Mary, do you think?
11? Or do you think she's older than that?
I don't know. She might be 13 or 14.
I think she's older. I think that it's technically YA, but super clean.
It's super,
super It feels cute. More like middle grade to me. But I think she's older. I think she's like 13, 14.
It doesn't really matter. I don't know why I'm looking. But Miri they live on Mount Eskel. And it's basically like this faraway mountain. They're in the very outer reaches of the kingdom. And they divine that Mount Eskel is the place of the new princess. So they have all these people from the palace who come to teach the girls how to be princesses so that the prince can come choose one of them. So,
as his future bride.
Yes. And one of the things that I liked about this book is that, in most books where there's a prince or a princess or whatever, you're like rooting for the main character to, find the prince and true love. And I don't feel like you're more just rooting for her as her in this book instead of.
And you're not sure if you want her to be the queen or not.
Yeah.
She's not sure if she wants it.
Well, and you think you look at her and go, she would be a good queen, but I don't really want her to be queen.
Yeah, to have that kind of life, and she's like super Spitfire personality. Yes. Really spunky and feisty and defender of the weak. She's so cute, and it's such a cute friend group type
I love
book,
that.
like sisterhood type of story. But yeah, these are really fun, and these I think would be great for if you have a younger reader who's advanced. You don't have to worry anything about these.
Yeah, I would have this. So my 7-year-old reads on about a 5th grade level currently, and I would hand her this book, and she would love it. So.
And I do want to mention Shannon Hale. She has written gobs and gobs of books, but a lot of books perfect for this age group. Princess in Black, I think, is the very beginning of middle grade. I don't know. I never know. I think it is, but her daughter loves them. My niece loves them. They're still need a blog that costume I made for her. But Shannon Hale is amazing. She is. I want her brain to go into the girls, I love the ideas that she gives, great personal identity and strength and good qualities that she puts into her stories.
Well, and she's such a fun person too. I went to down one of the local universities around here did a stage production of Princess Academy.
Oh, really?
A year or so ago, and we went to that, and we actually made sure we were at the stage production that Shannon Hill was at, because she came on stage and did, a Q&A afterwards, and she's just so much fun. She cares so much about her books and everything like that.
Yeah, and she's really cool. So the Princess in Black series is, it's about this, crazy little princess girl.
Princess in Black.
She fights these weird monster things, But there's this little girl in the Q&A asking if she was going to make a Prince in Black series. And I loved her answer. So she goes, you know what? I don't think I need to, because we are great reading about kings and sword fighters and superheroes and Captain America, and we watch Star Wars. So I think the boys can handle reading an action-filled book about a princess for once. And I was like, I hadn't ever thought in that way, and I was like, yes, your books are perfect for boys. They are, just because there's a princess as the main person does not mean that it's not a boy book, you know?
You know, a while ago, I wrote a list of like the best princess books for every age, you know, going through picture books and middle grade and everything like that. And the very first comment on the blog post was, I have all boys, so we'll be skipping these. And I just, I still think about that every now and then and just go, so sad that your boys are gonna miss. I mean, like, there's obviously books on there that probably aren't their style and stuff, but there are so many awesome princess books that I would definitely hand to my nephews.
Well, and I know it was like this before, but before little girls couldn't love superheroes, and now it's totally acceptable. Like I
love that.
want the little boys to be cool with that. I mean, Teddy is. He's like a Cinderella freak, but you know, might be made fun of too. You know, we'll see. Maybe it'll be a little different when he goes to school. Okay, what do we have next? Oh, so for those of you just hopping in, Marissa from Reagan Ramblings,
Deborah from Housewife Eclectic,
and we are sharing our favorite middle grade books. So books that are great for like 9 to 12 or older.
Okay, and we just talked about Princess Academy. Delightful book for like 7 to, like, we love this book. So I'll put this one over here. What do you want to go with next?
You just grab.
Okay, I'm going to grab one that Marissa doesn't know anything about.
Yeah.
So this book, I seriously, like, most people have never heard of it. It's called The Plant That Ate Dirty Socks. It's about 2 brothers. One is a neat freak and one is a clean freak. And they get these plants and they grow them in their room for a science project. And the brother whose a neat freak will only eat clean socks, and the brother who's a dirty freak will only eat dirty socks.
That's hilarious.
So seriously, like, it's so funny. I discovered it when I was a kid, and my mom we used to sit there. I have 5 brothers and sisters, so we used to sit all in a circle around her bed, and she would read books out loud to us. And this one had us rolling on the floor laughing. Like, so funny. And honestly, it's been a while since I've read it, so I can't remember, like, all of the little nuances about it, but I just remember that it's hilarious. So,
cool.
there's that one.
I have to check that one out. You want to do this one?
Sure.
So this is a newer series. The 3rd book comes out this fall, I think.
Is it a trilogy or is it longer than that?
I think it might be longer. So the first book is called The Iron Trial, and the series is the Magisterium series. And it's by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, who are both like crazy,
fantastic,
amazing fantasy writers. But this is middle grade, and the story is so fun. So it might sound Harry Potter-ish to you.
It is a little Harry Potter-ish, but I think it's still good.
Totally its own thing,
too.
Yeah. So, like, don't throw it away or think it's a copy, because, I mean, I think wizard stories are great. But the idea is there's this boy who has to... his dad is trying to keep him out of this school. So it starts off with him being tested, and the dad has instructed him to fail all of these tests. And he tries really hard to fail them. Like, he tries hard, but his magic is just strong or something. And he ends up excelling and gets accepted to the school, to his father's dismay. And the school is underground, and and it's this great story about them learning how to use their magic, and super fun friend group, and it's a boarding school. I always love boarding school books. I love boarding school books too. But lots of adventure and magic. Yes, Virginia, Cassandra Clare,
awesome.
She's
well, and that's what's so great about the Iron Trial is I love Cassandra Clare, but there's a lot of her books, you know, like that I wouldn't want my daughter to read till she's a little older, you know, and so but this is perfect.
Yeah. This is definitely middle grade. There's not going to be... They have crushes on different people, but there's not going to be any funny business that you don't want like a 9-year-old like.
There's not,
being like, hey, what's this about?
There's not some Clary,
No, none
weird
of that.
stuff that you have to explain to your children. So, this one's a great one.
Yes, Lorraine added. They're really, really fun. Okay.
I still haven't read the second.
Okay, Lorraine looked it up and she says that it comes out next week. I knew it was soon.
Have you read the second one?
Mm-hmm.
I need to pick up this. I get to the point where I struggle. Sometimes I don't want to read the second one until I'm going to have the third one, because the second one, typically a first one, it, can stand alone pretty well by itself, but the second one usually has the cliffhanger. So.
Yeah. Well, and you're a really fast reader. Like, she'll be like, I started this book an hour ago and I just finished it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know what? Seriously, it was
so you can binge read it like right before the other ones come out.
It was like my only talent growing up. Everyone would like.
It's a good one.
Everyone would be like, let's have a talent show. I'll sing, I'll play the piano. And I'd be like, I can read really fast. So.
Cool. But yeah, check these out. Magisterium series. Really fun. Boys, girls, everyone will like this. Adults.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's a good one for everyone. What do you want to do?
Let's do these ones. I haven't read those.
You
ones.
haven't read Dragon Slippers?
But I've wanted to. I haven't read any by her.
You haven't? Oh, this is Dragon Slippers by Jessica Day George. She is also another perfect middle grade writer. She I think pretty much anything she's written would be okay for a middle grade student. So this book is Creel's aunt is trying to marry her off, so she sacrifices her to a dragon, hoping that a knight will come rescue her. So Creel is really smart and she bargains for her escape, and when she leaves from the dragon, she takes with her a pair of dragon slippers. And they're actually a really, really special pair of dragon slippers that end up causing a bunch of chaos and a huge thing. So I'm not going to tell you what kind of slippers they are, because I think that will ruin part of the story.
I love Lorraine. You're the best. She's like, it's so good.
Yeah, Jessica. So what I'm trying.
But she's doing that to all the books.
They're all good.
I feel the same way too. I'm gonna have all these to read now after this.
See, Virginia, I'm totally the same way. Like, people are always like, I'm not sure how you can read so fast, and I'm like, once I start a story, it's like painful for me to stop.
No, it's true, and that's why I have to be careful when I start ones, because I know lots of people can relate to the Netflix binging, right?
Yeah, see,
it's
for
just
me, I
like
book
that.
binge.
Yeah,
I book binge. I can't. It's this I can't not know what's gonna happen. So Jessica Day George, there's 3 of these. There's Dragon Slipper, Dragon Spear, Dragon Flight, I think. Then she also did Sun and Moon, Ice and Snow, which is a take on the Polar Bear King. And I'm trying to think what else she's done. Oh, she did
those tower ones.
Yes, that's Tuesdays in the Castle, Wednesdays in the Tower, Thursdays, I can't remember. But those are a little bit younger. My seventh grader. Wow, I just aged my child a lot. My 7-year-old really, really, really likes those. So, I
might have to see if Tira will read those ones.
They're super cute.
She's not into reading, but I think she would love it if she found the right book.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think that's what makes Harry Potter so magical for so many kids, because I think for a lot of kids, that's the first great book. You know? Like,
no,
that's
I
the
think
first
it's true. I think you're
one
right.
That
It grabs them.
Mm-hmm. So, but Tuesdays in the Castle is about a little girl. She's little. I think she's like 10, and she lives in a magical castle that it adds rooms and halls and things every day. So it's really fun. Yeah. So, and the castle ends up being taken over, and they kill the spirit in the castle, and she's trying to bring it back, is the story. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, it's way fun. So yeah, so Jessica J. George, I would recommend. I think I've read almost everything. Oh, Princess at the Midnight Ball is her take on 12 Dancing Princesses, which is also really fun. Those are really. Although I did just read one by her, Silver in the Blood. It's a werewolf one. That one might be a little more YA.
Okay.
So
that sounds fun. Hey, Becky, glad you are here. Maybe literally here. So we want to know who else is hanging out with us. Comment and say hi. Where are you watching from? We are in Salt Lake City. I haven't been outside except for 1 second to open the door for Deborah. Is it hot today?
No, it's actually really nice.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm excited for fall.
Okay, what else do you want to do?
I love this one.
I do too. Okay, these are the Gallagher Girl books. And seriously, like...
They might be YA just because they're kind of older kids.
She's 15 in the book.
But they're definitely clean and fun.
And they're silly and just ridiculous.
They're so cute. They're like
so cute.
Like, I like to call it like the fast food of books, right?
Yes.
So nothing too deep, but not super shallow either. But you can just kind of consume it, and then you want to just go through and read them all like in a weekend.
So Cami Morgan is a student at the Gallagher Academy for Exceptional Women, which is a spy academy. So, you know, they teach advanced martial arts and PE and chemical warfare and science and stuff. So it's all about training these girls to be a spy. And, you know, they're all fantastic. They all speak a bunch of languages. And then they find out that they can't pass for normal teenagers. So, like, their hardest thing is just trying to be a normal, you know, sound like a normal teenager. So,
yeah,
it's a fun book.
They're so cute. And it's a boarding school.
Yes.
So I love boarding school books.
Yes.
Yeah.
On that same vein, where is it? Oh, there it is. Have you read this one?
Yes, I love them.
them. This is actually by the same author. So she's a little bit older. She's 17
I think so.
19.
Yeah.
So this one I had a hard time. I couldn't decide if it was middle grade or not, but I think it's really clean and really fun. So it's about a girl that she's gotten out of the family business, which is stealing things, and she kind of ends up getting roped back into the family business. So it's about how they pull off a big heist. It's kind of like
if you like those Ocean 11 type of
Italian
movies, like
Job,
all of those type of, it's that but with teenagers.
So
and cute boys.
Yeah, so it's one of those that you know, maybe a little bit. Your 11 or 12-year-old are probably. I don't know that I would hand this to my 7-year-old.
Yeah.
But your 11 or 12-year-old.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that.
Hate it when the internet is down.
The internet just went crazy on us. Hey, Andrea. Of course, right when Andrea shows up. Glad to have you guys here.
We're talking about middle grade books, which are usually like 8 to 12-year-old, what you would recommend for them.
And these are all books that we love. So I'm Marissa from Reagan Ramblings.
I'm Deborah from Housewife Eclectic.
We would love you to follow both of our accounts. And if you missed the beginning of this, you'll be able to replay it when we're done. Just share this to your wall. Just hit the share button. And when we go... Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it keeps bugging out. I blame it on Becky. I think Becky snuck into my house and is fiddling with the internet connection. Okay. But we are still going. And our next middle grade book we love. Yeah, let's do that one.
So this is The False Prince, which is, I can't remember his name. What's his name?
I don't remember.
I don't remember his name either. Is that so sad?
I know
well, his name changes partway through.
That's the thing, and we don't want to give the wrong name.
I don't want to give the wrong name because it's kind of a big deal. So this book is there has been is it spoilery to say murder?
No.
Oh, is that at the beginning? I can't remember. So there's been a murder, and the king and the queen and the crown prince have all been killed. So the kingdom is kind of in upheaval. They're trying to figure out who's going to be the next ruler. And there was a second prince, but he disappeared years and years and years ago. So a man has decided that the best way to gain control of the kingdom is that he is going to audition 3 or 4 boys.
Sage.
His name is Sage. So he's going to audition 3 or 4 boys, and he's going to mold them and teach them how to be like the prince that's missing. And then he's going to show back up.
He's kind of a bad guy.
He's a way bad guy.
He's like trying to put a puppet ruler in, basically. Yes. So he finds these boys he thinks no one, like orphan kids or whatever.
Yeah, so he's trying to train these orphans to be this
so he could pass. They could pass as
the prince. So yeah, so it's just basically like this whole kind of revolutionary themed thing. And the main character, Sage,
he is hilarious.
He's kind of awesome. Like,
he's like sassy. It is a great book for boys and girls.
Yes.
Like lots of adventure.
So Sage is one of the boys that's auditioning to be this fake prince.
Yeah.
So
he's really great. They're really fun. And I've listened to the audiobooks and they're good. So if you need a book for like a road trip or something like that for the whole family, that would be a good one to do.
You know, I don't listen to a lot of audiobooks, but Marissa does. She's definitely your girl for
I am an audiobook girl.
Audiobook recommendations. So that one's The False Prince, and all three of the whole trilogy is out. So
yes, it's a completed one. So if you get sucked in, you can finish it through.
No waiting for this trilogy. So, what do you want to go for?
Let's do. Just grab one. Yeah, that's your favorite, isn't it?
Yes, it is. This has been a favorite of mine since I have probably read it once a year since it came. I wonder when it did come out. Oh, I forgot it's signed.
I know. I was surprised at how many of mine are signed when I was pulling them out.
Yeah, 97. So I probably read this once a year since it came out. And seriously, people, it's delightful. It's a retelling of Cinderella. But Ella, when she is a baby, the day she's born, an evil fairy comes and curses her with that she will always be obedient. So if you make a request of her, you know, say, Ella, will you please do this? She can choose to not do it, you know, like anyone else. But if you say, Ella, do this, she has to do it. Like she's compelled to.
Mm-hmm.
So she can't not do it. So basically if someone told her to go kill herself or, you know, do things, so she'd have to do it. So it's a really dangerous curse. And the whole book is about how she's trying to learn how to break the curse. So it's a fantastic Cinderella retelling. There's a little bit of romance, but nothing, you know.
It's a good first one, or younger reader one too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I haven't read this one to my 7-year-old yet because she really wants to read it by herself, and I can't help it. I have to read it to her.
Yes.
So it's driving her crazy. So
that's hilarious. Okay, Virginia is saying that she hated the Hunger Games narrator. I agree. That person. How did she get picked? Weird grandma voice for Katniss. And then The False Prince is a trilogy.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're all really fun. Super fun story.
And
the Ella Enchanted.
All three of those books are out. So even though it's a trilogy, you could pick up all three. So.
And they did do an Ella Enchanted movie, yes?
Oh my gosh, but please don't watch it.
Oh, okay.
Seriously, like, I tell people, like Ella Enchanted is one of my very favorite books. Seriously, Ella Enchanted's, like, top 5 favorite books for me. And people will be like, oh, I haven't read that, but I've seen the movie. And I'm like, lose everything you've thought of the movie and just read it. Like,
that's how I feel about Beautiful Creatures and The Mortal Instruments.
You know, I actually kind of liked the Mortal Instruments movie.
Oh.
But,
okay,
but, like, not as a representation of the book.
Yeah, I can see that.
I feel that same way with Count of Monte Cristo. Like, if you've read the book and you've seen the movie that has, the one that came out the one that has Superman in it.
Okay.
Like, I feel like they're both amazing, but they're not the same story.
Yeah.
You know,
so. I was one of those people that after every Harry Potter movie, I'd be like, they changed this tiny thing. How could they snub us readers, you know? So.
Well, I walked out of the first Harry Potter movie and was like, that was awful, guys. And like, everyone was like, what are you talking about? That movie was great. And I was like, no, in the book, Harry says that line, but in the movie, so-and-so said that line.
And I feel like Facebook reminds me of my,
my
Harry Potter rage. But now it's like, no, they did a great representation.
Yeah.
The changes still might have been stupid and unnecessary, but it was still a great movie and still got the spirit.
Well, that was like when I got the opportunity to interview Nicholas Sparks like a year ago, and that was one thing that I asked him. I was like, does it bother you how much the movies change your books? And he, you know, and he, no. How can it not bother you that they change your books? He said, well, they can't change my book. My book is my book. It's a different, you know, it's a different medium.
I can totally see that.
They can never change my book. My book is my book. And so, you know, I've tried to take that into account. Like, my husband and I actually really like the Percy Jackson movies. And
I think they're fun. I agree. I think that they are pretty different.
They're not the same as the book. And so I always think, you know, the book is the book. They can't change the book, but this was a fun movie.
But I do think the Percy Jackson movies definitely keep the spirit of it.
Yeah.
You know, like the spirit of most of the characters and the idea of it, but lots of like the actual stuff that happens is different.
It's very different. Well, and I know that like Lorene, I've talked to Lorene's husband before about the Percy Jackson movies, and he's got quite a bit of rage against them. So I'm always scared to say I actually liked them. So,
I like them too.
But so that segues us into Percy Jackson. Percy it's kind of my husband has called it Harry Potter with Greek gods.
Yeah.
You know, because there's...
And then camp instead of school.
Yes. So there's like a camp where they're learning to do a lot of things. And in the first book, Zeus thinks that Percy, who is son of Poseidon, has stolen his lightning bolt. And so he has to try and get it back, even though he's not the one who stole it. So... I think it's a really fun book. It does a pretty good background on Greek mythology.
Yes.
So you don't have to, I feel like you don't have to continuously look things up. It gives
it gives you lots of background. In fact, I was at like a pub quiz type of thing, and I kept on getting the Greek mythology right because of Percy Jackson.
Be like, everyone, I am well read.
I know
Percy Jackson.
my stuff because I read middle schooler books.
So I think this is a great one to, yes, her husband has rage against the movies. I liked them. But they have, this is a great book to introduce your kids to Greek mythology. And it's fun because you hear a little bit about the stories from, you know, the mythology, but then you also get to see the gods and what they're doing now. And, you know, they're up to their same old tricks.
We should do mythology retellings next.
Okay.
Or sometime.
I'm going to grab this one.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the best ones, I think.
So this, oh my gosh, this book is so good. And I feel like nobody knows about it.
No, it's like super underrated, underpushed, but it's amazing.
Like, why has nobody read this book? Read it. This is Princess in the Opal Mask. And it's basically a retelling of Man in the Iron Mask.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
The twins and one has to wear a mask. Yeah.
I don't know that story.
Oh, it's my mom's favorite. So
oh, okay.
I've seen it and read it a lot growing up. So it's basically, so I would say that this is a retelling of Man in the Iron Mask. There are twin sisters, and the dad is afraid that they're going to cause a real revolution. So they're separated at birth, and one is forced to wear a mask to conceal their identity. So and
they don't know this.
No, they don't.
Like, they're raised not knowing about their sibling.
Yeah.
And the mask wearer has no idea that why she has to wear this stupid mask.
Yeah, she can't figure out why she's. I mean,
and she thinks that she's ugly or something.
Yeah, she thinks that her dad's trying to hide her.
Like he's embarrassed of her looks or something like that.
So this one is, there's two. What's the second one called?
It's a duology. The Opal.
I can't remember.
I can look it up real quick.
Okay, she's gonna look up
because it's weird. I went to type them in, and it's kind of hard to find them online. It's the Opal Crown.
Okay,
and they're wonderful.
They're fantastic.
Well written. The characters are amazing. I feel like the ideas in them are great.
Well, and I feel like there's a natural progression of relationships. I feel like so many times, you know, people meet each other and they're best friends, and I just don't think that's reality. And I think there's a natural progression of the two sisters' relationship throughout this book. There's also, I was trying to think, there was something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember. Oh, it's based on, like, it goes through a little bit of the country's history, you know, obviously the fictional country's history, but like you understand why their dad, I mean, you still don't think he did a good thing, but you kind of understand it, so it's not completely out of left field.
Yeah.
So this is a fantastic book.
It's really good. If you haven't checked it out, it's super fun.
And this one, I really think that my 7-year-old could read it and do fine with it. So it might be one of those books that I would read out loud to her rather than have her read on her own. But I think it is
like lots of adventure and a lot of boy characters too. So it does focus around the girls, but I think the boys would like it too.
I would definitely, like, seriously, I think my nephews would like this book. It's really fun. Lots of sword fighting.
Super cute.
And stuff. Okay. Have you read this one?
I haven't, but we can talk about the other one while we hit that one too.
Oh.
Because it's the same author.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. This, Dealing with Dragons, this is a set of 4, and this is also one of my very, very favorites. It's about a princess who likes to do sword fighting and magic and, you know, things like that. And she's not a proper princess. And so instead of being a proper princess and marrying, she decides to run away and live with the dragons. And she becomes a servant to a dragon. And it's like, I love the progression of her relationship with the dragon. She and the dragon actually become really close. And it's a really, really fun book. There's 4 of them. And it kind of goes on. The last one's not my favorite, but I think the first one is. So
The last one's not your favorite?
yeah, I just like, she's not the main protagonist of the last one.
Okay.
Her child is, so it kind of goes along. There's another one that she has written that we have both read.
Yeah, co-written. It's Sorcery and Cecilia, or the Enchanted Chocolate Pot. Kind of a weird title, but it's because there are 2 authors, and they both took turns writing.
Yes.
So, the story is a couple of cousins, and they, what time period is this?
Is it letters back and forth?
Yeah, it's letters back and forth.
It's been a while since I've read it.
And it's like kind of Regency time. So they're in London and they're writing, and one's going on a season. And they're kind of writing back and forth. And that's what the authors did. They each took turns
like writing a letter.
Writing the letters. And so it's really fun. But they like go into all this crazy adventure with like a little bit of magic and strange things happen.
Lorene says that it's Jane Austen meets Harry Potter.
Yes.
And I would totally agree with that.
Perfect description. It is so cute. And I think it's perfect for the younger readers too.
It's a good one.
So the ones that are kind of newly reading on their own would find it really fun. And the letter format's really easy to read, I think. So
she's a good author. I like a lot of her stuff.
Oops, sorry.
This one? Oh, I love this one. This is Artemis Fowl. And it is about, is he 12?
Something like that.
He's a 12-year-old genius billionaire. And he decides, he finds out about the fairies that live underground, and he decides he's going to con the fairies out of their gold.
He's kind of an evil genius.
But the thing is, it's like, he's totally the evil genius that you root for. You love him.
Like Despicable Me, evil genius.
Yeah, I would think that's a really good thing. So, this was, I think, when my brother was middle grade, when he was probably about 10, this was his favorite series. My mom actually checked him out of school one day and took him up to meet the author, and he like freaked out. It was super cute. But so this, like, it's all about so there's that mix of evil genius billionaire meets fairies and goblins and things like that. So this is a really fun book. They're really easy
There's
to read.
a lot of technology stuff too.
Yeah.
So that's really fun, like sci-fi. And there's a bazillion of them.
Yeah. And his parents are non-existent for the first little bit, and then they
You're like, where are the parents?
I know, and then they
What's
show back
going
up.
on?
So apparently this is what happens when you leave a billionaire child alone.
Yes.
You get Artemis Fowl.
And then also Ian Kohler, he has written a ton of books, and everyone that I have read has been great.
I don't think I've read anymore. I should.
The other one that I love is Airman. I think it's a standalone.
I did read Airman. I loved Airman.
So
I forgot about Airman. I should have brought it.
It's one of my favorite books, and it's great for anyone going through hard times.
I would think so too.
But it's not a downer. So it's
a good one.
It's really great in this, like, this kid has been dealt this terrible hand. Bad people have put him in a bad place. And he has a great attitude and works through it, you know? And it's like adventure and it's fun and it's not downer. And then also another younger middle grade is Half Moon Investigations, which is about, it's kind of more Artemis Fowl, but it's the youngest detective in all the world.
I'm gonna have to add that to my list.
The bullies basically blackmail him into doing a job for them on the playground. It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm
really
gonna have
funny.
to read that. That sounds awesome.
So it's cute.
Have you read this one? This one's really fun. If you're a Disney fan, your kids are going to love The Kingdom Keepers. So this is the first one, Disney After Dark. So this is the first cover before they decided to rename all of the books. But basically what happens is there are 4 kids that are turned into holograms to be hologram guides at Disney World. Well, because they are now a Disney World attraction, when they go to sleep, they wake up in the Magic Kingdom, and Maleficent and all of the villains are trying to take over the Magic Kingdom, so they have to fight all of the Disney villains at night to keep the Magic Kingdom safe. So if you're a Disney fan, your kids are gonna love
I've heard really good things about these. I forgot about this one. I feel like I love doing this because it's like you have all these books and you're like, I meant to read that. I meant to read it.
So it's seriously, Disney fans are gonna love it. It's so much fun, and Ridley Pearson is. Oh, he also helped write this one. But yeah, it's seriously delightful. All about, especially if you've been to Disney World, your kids are going to love it because they talk about all of the different places in Disney World and things like that.
That would be fun to read like right before you go on a trip.
Yeah, or take with you. So Maleficent is the main evil character in this one, so it's really fun. He also helped write this one with Dave Barry. It's Peter and the Starcatchers, which is about Peter Pan before he's Peter Pan. So you meet Black Stash, who turns out to be Captain Hook and everything. This is before he's even fed his hand to the croc. So
a two-handed Captain Hook?
A two-handed Captain Hook before you. So this one, my daughter's read this one and was absolutely delighted by it.
Oh, she liked it?
She loved it.
Cool.
So I read it, and I found it personally for me a little slow for an adult, but for a kid, she absolutely loved it. Okay. And she went and they went and saw the play for their field trip last year of Peter and the Starcatchers, just a city away, and she adored it. So she talks about Peter and the Starcatchers all the time. So these are both Ridley Pearson and Dave Barry. They're both excellent.
Cool. Just grab.
Have you read this one?
I haven't.
You haven't read Holes?
Oh. But it sounds a little creaturey for me.
No.
No? Okay.
You're going to like it. So Stanley Yelnats is sent to a camp where they have to dig a hole every single day, and that's why it's called Holes. So it's kind of about his adventures and stuff like that. I had actually never read this. The first time I read this was when my 7-year-old was a brand new newborn and she didn't sleep, and so I started just reading to like get through the night. And so that was the first time I read this. So I read this as an adult and loved it. So it's one of my husband's favorites. It was like one of those, we were having a conversation one day and he was like, "You've never read Holes? I'm going to buy it right now and bring it home and you're going to sit down and read it right now." So it's delightful. I love it. Have you read this one?
I think I read part of that one. Or I might have read it in school.
So The Weston Game is a super fun one. It's basically about this old guy who leaves a will, and these people have to solve this mystery, play this game to get the money. Yeah. So it's actually been a while since I read it, so I can't tell you much more than that. But this was also one of my husband's favorite when he was a kid. This is another one that I read the same time.
Yeah, I remember reading that when I was definitely in this age group.
Yeah, so it's definitely a fun one. Which one did they do a movie version of? Virginia?
I think, was it Ella Enchanted? Let's see. Okay, so for those of you just popping in, I saw a little boost in the numbers. I'm Marissa from Reagan Rambling.
And I'm Deborah from Housewife Eclectic.
We have been sharing a ton of great books for middle grade readers, which is like 8 to 12-year-olds and anyone older. If you missed the beginning, you can share this to your wall, and then when we are finished, you'll be able to replay it, and you can skip around and you can see all the books on our list.
Well, and I think we're up to like 15 or 16, so you're definitely, if you...
There's a lot, and there's even more on our post, I think. Do you want to do this one? This one?
Yes. I love this one.
So, in addition to just being a really cool cover...
it is a cool cover, huh?
And they're all really cool in this series. So, and it's a finished series, so you can binge read them. These are the Finishing School series by Gail Carriger. The first one is Etiquette and Espionage, and it's like steampunk, so kind of Victorian-ish feeling. Girls at boarding school who are learning to be spies in this stuff.
Well, her parents, the main character, her parents don't think she's a very good lady, so she's sent to finishing school to be finished, and when she gets to finishing school, it's actually an espionage school. So,
and her parents and her family has no idea.
Oh yeah,
like so some of the students, like they are what is it called when your parents have all been to the same school, right? So they all have gone through.
Their parents have been there and their grandparents have been there.
Yes, and then there's people like her where she's always gotten in trouble for riding like the food trolley up and down and like just climbing trees, and they knew that she would make a great spy.
I know, this is the book that made me wish I had a dumbwaiter.
Yes.
So that I could ride it up
It's
and down.
hilarious though.
It's fun.
So sassy, really smart characters. It's just fun, and there's some supernatural stuff
Yeah,
too.
there's vampires and werewolves,
and
so there's a little bit of that. So I'm gonna.
Oh, Virginia was saying Holes was a movie. How was it?
I don't know that I've seen Holes.
I tried watching it and I didn't love it, which is, don't judge a book by its movie, but still, it's hard not to.
It's hard not to. So Ferris is another one by Gail Carson Levine.
The Ella Enchanted.
The Ella Enchanted writer. I don't love it as much as I love Ella, but this is her version of Snow White, and so it's still really fun. It's all about.
But you still like it.
Yeah, no, I still love it. Like, it's still a great one.
Ella Enchanted is like your
But like Ella
epitome
Enchanted
of
is
all
like
books.
in my top 5. So I don't think you're gonna hold a candle to it on most things. So it's a pretty easy read. It's kind of all about, if you know the story of Snow White, then you kind of know the background of this one. So it's kind of a fun one. And then I'm going to kind of blow through a few of these that Marissa doesn't know. Ungifted is one that I actually just read for the first time this year. And it's about a boy he's just a normal kid, a little bit of a troublemaker. And he accidentally gets added to the gifted program at the school. With all these like brilliant
that's
kids.
sad.
So it's actually really, really fun. It's this awesome book where they find out how much they all need each other. And so that's really cool. And then The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle is a book where...
I think I read that when I was younger.
I loved this one when I was younger. It's a book where her whole family goes to America, and they leave her in, I think, England, so she can finish the school year. And she finishes the school year and goes to go cross the Atlantic by herself, and she gets on the boat, and just a couple days out finds out she's in the middle of a mutiny. So,
yeah.
she's, not safe and everything like that, so it's all about how she makes it across the Atlantic. So
cool. Did we miss any of yours?
Nope, I think.
Did you bring all of the ones on your list?
I brought most of them.
Okay. I have a couple that I have a couple more that aren't on, that I don't have the physical book for, but they're so good that I think you should check out. So, so Just My Luck by Cammie McGovern. It's like a white cover with a bunch of bicycles on it. It's a really interesting book. I would say if you have a very sensitive or like anxious kid, maybe not for them, because the basic storyline is that the father gets into an accident that is kind of caused by the main character.
Okay.
So I know that stressed me out just as an adult reading it. And I know that my niece would like start like imagining all these scenarios, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be good for my kid.
So if your kid is not like that, then it would be good for them. Or I just stick to an older middle school type of kid. But it's really interesting because this author is really great about focusing on different types of diversity, especially like special needs. And she does a really good treatment of like just how this family is dealing with this traumatic brain injury of the dad, and how they deal with the autistic brother. But it's still like a fun read with these serious elements thrown in that are awesome for everyone to think about, right?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why I think Wonder has done so well and people really like Wonder is that the main character of Wonder has facial abnormalities and things like that. And they handle that really well. Something that I really liked about Wonder is I felt like it didn't... I think sometimes when you handle, disabilities and things like that, they either, get vilified or they get glossed over.
Yes.
And I that's something that I loved about Wonder was that it handled his, facial abnormalities as some kids accepted him and learned to love him and learned to be his friends, but they were always still the jerks that were going to be mean to him.
And that's how this one, the Just My Luck is, right? Like sometimes the brother is fun to be around, and sometimes it's like you don't want anything to do with him. He's just annoying. So it's a really interesting series. Oh, I loved The Witches as growing up.
You know, we only got halfway through that and it freaked out.
It was kind of creepy,
Sophie,
but
so
like
I
all
never
those
finished
Roald
it.
Dahl books, great for this age
Yes.
group, right?
We love Charlie
what
and
else
the
is on
Chocolate
my list?
Factory.
Did you read Inkheart?
I haven't read Inkheart.
Okay, so there's a movie, which is fine, but the book is amazing. It's all about, it's basically if your favorite story, like a fantasy type of fairy tale story, the characters came to life. But you don't get to pick which come to life. So some of the bad characters are coming to life. And they're like trying to catch them. And it's a really, really fun story. The audiobook on the first one is great. But then they switched to Brendan Fraser as the narrator because he's the star in the movie. And I just can't get myself to read or listen to the other ones. But they're so fun.
That kind of reminds me, there was one series that I didn't put on my list that I had thought about putting on my list. It's called The Sisters Grimm. They're like fairy tale detectives where they live in this town where all of the fairy tale characters are forced to live. They can't leave. And so I've actually never watched Once Upon a Time, but I had someone tell me it was like a younger Once Upon a Time.
That sounds really fun.
Sophie, my 7-year-old, has really liked them. So they're a fun read and kind of a quick read. I'm not sure how many are out. I think we've read the first 4.
Oh, are they still coming out?
I don't know.
I feel like I've seen them in the bookstores.
So yeah, there's a lot of them. So they're really fun.
Okay, Summer Lost. Did you read that one?
I haven't read Summer Lost.
Allie's last book.
Oh, is that by
Allie Condi?
Did you ever read Atlantia?
I did. That was so cute.
I
think that would be a good one too. That one, Atlantia is like this underwater world and great sibling story.
It is a good sibling story, and I kind of loved that. It shows that you can't always get what you want, but you can still be happy.
Yes.
I like that about that one.
I feel like Allie writes books with great ideas in it.
Yes.
Like great way to view yourself. The characters aren't perfect and they learn things. I just think they're great. Summer Lost is really fun. It's about these kids who grow up in Utah with the Shakespearean Festival.
The Shakespearean Festival.
And they're working it and they're doing these secret tours like around the side.
Funny.
It's so fun. It's such a cute book. And then there was one last one that I wanted to hit. There's a couple more on my list. If you click through on the description, we linked both of our lists so you can see our blog posts and we have links to it so you can, if you don't remember which is which, you can click through and get the synopsis.
And then you can, I think both of us, did you link to Amazon on all your books?
Yes.
So I linked to Amazon, so you can go through and, purchase them, or, you could copy and paste the list and print it so you can pick them up at your local library. So. And
you can pin the list for later if you want. So, okay, these ones are probably my favorite. I highlighted my top 5 in my list because I was like, I don't know about order, but the Theodosia Throckmorton series. Have you read those?
I haven't even heard of that.
They're so cute. I randomly picked up the audiobook at the library because it looked fun and it was on the shelf one day at story time. So Theodosia...
See, this is why you need to go into the actual library.
I know. I always put things on hold and go to the shelf. But at story time, when the kids are being crazy, I'm like looking at the shelves. But this one is so cute. It's about this precocious daughter of... I forget what archaeologists, and they...
Oh, that sounds like something we would love.
The parents are scientists that work in the museum and travel, and they're dealing with mummies and all of this stuff. And she, lives in museums, and she's so smart and sassy, and she basically finds out that there's, crazy mummy magic and secret societies, and it's so... fun.
Books like that when I was growing up, I used to always I would finish a book like that and I would be like, seriously, why do I live the most normal, ordinary life? Why can't I grow up in museums and my parents would be like, aren't you happy that you live this normal, ordinary life?
Not completely stressful life.
I'm just like, no, I want to grow up in museums and I want to go on adventures and
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Every once in a while nowadays, if I feel like my vision's getting flickery or something, and I'm like, oh, it's me seeing the other world. I'm not getting old. It's just me finally coming to my powers.
Right? Oh, my mom used to I would say that to my mom and she'd be like, I'll buy you another book. Okay. So, you know what?
Okay, Jessica, yes, we both wrote lists on our blog. So to get all of the books, if you look in the description of the video, you'll be able to see Deborah's list and Marissa's list. And if you click on those two links, you'll get to both of our posts. And we both have all the books we talked about and even a couple more. So you'll be able to see them there.
And then you'll need to click on both lists because we're both really careful about not sharing books that we haven't read before. Mm-hmm. So there's certain books on my list that we've talked about that she hasn't read, and certain books on her list that I haven't read.
There's different ones, and some of the ones that we both read we didn't put on our own list.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun that way. Maria, I haven't read the Amulet series. Have you?
What's it about?
What's the
first book in that?
Yes, and do you guys have other books we need to check out? I love finding new books.
You know, I tried reading The Inheritance Cycle, and I couldn't get into it. So I think maybe I need to try again. Sometimes I have found, you know, something about a book, sometimes it's just the right time in your life for reading it.
For sure.
And I think that's, like, for me, like I said, Ella Enchanted is probably one of my top 5. But if I read it now, I would probably still love it, but I don't know it would be top 5. I think sometimes you just discover the book at the right time in your life, you know?
For sure. And I feel like that's how Airman was for me. Although I do think it's amazing, but I was going through some hard stuff. And I was like, if he can live in this dungeon wrongly accused and still have a good attitude, I can do it too. You know, I'm 30 and he's like 15, but whatever. Oh, the Mysterious Benedict Society.
Oh, you know what? I actually have that on my shelf.
Have you read them?
I have.
I haven't, but the covers are so cute. I
almost brought them and put them on my list. I read the first one to Sophie, and
did she like them?
It's a fun book, and there's some fun. I mean, they're little kids. They're like
Lemony Snicket type of level?
Yeah, I almost put Lemony Snicket.
I almost did too. Those are fun too for the younger guys.
I've only read the first. I think my husband's read all of them, but I've only read them.
Daniel has too.
Well, my husband and I, between the two of us, we try really hard to. Well, not like the Ginny B. Jones and the Magic Tree House because I just can't do it. But but we try for mostly the middle grade, like the longer chapter books. One of us tries to read the book before we give it to our daughter, just because she's a little bit, she absorbs things really, really well. And so if something happens in a book, then she becomes really concerned that it's going to happen in her life. So we try really hard to read before her. But so my husband read all of Lemony Snicket's, and I've read all of the Mysterious Benedict Society. They're really fun.
I'm going to have to pick those up.
I've got them. Do you want to borrow?
I might have to listen to them.
Oh,
I have been reading so slow these days.
She's a listener. You know what?
If they're on audiobook, I'll try that first, usually.
I just can't do audiobooks, guys. Like, I picked up...
Well, you read so much
Lola
faster.
and the Boy Next Door was one of the first audiobooks that I picked up on your recommendation.
That was fun.
It was a cute one. And I listened to the first CDs, and I was like, I could have finished the book by now!
Yeah, no, that's the thing. When you listen to audiobooks, it's slower. Even for me, and I don't read fast. But you know, they're reading at a listening pace. So sometimes you'll read it and you're like, I don't care. I want to know what happens next. So I'll go to the library and finish it up on the hard copy. Okay, the Septima's Heap. I've seen those on tons of lists and I can picture the cover. Aren't those the Alchemist books? Have you read any of those?
No, I haven't. But I've seen those a lot of places. I just haven't read them.
Or else that's another one. Oh, Goosebumps and Babysitter's Club.
So when we got married, I took all of my books with. We have this huge library. One of these days, I'm going to do a live of my library. But when we got married, I took all my books with me, and we had to move them across the country twice, and it drove my husband crazy. But he didn't think he needed to take his books with him. And then so our daughter just turned 7, and she's an avid reader, and she started bringing home Goosebumps books. And he would be like, why are you checking these out of the library? I have these. And I was like, because someone thought he didn't need his books. So he had to go to his mom and bring them all over. So we just absorbed his collection of Goosebumps and Hardy Boys.
Nice.
She's loving those. You know,
awesome.
You know which one that no one ever talks about? Because she was reading Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys. But did you ever read the Bobbsey Twins?
No.
Well, it's kind of in that same vein, but they're really fun.
Are they fun?
Although the funniest thing about Nancy Drew is that my daughter's been reading them, and she'll come and she'll be like, "Mom, what's a record player?" I was like, "Oh, sad."
I did have a Boxcar Children phase.
You know what? She just read a bunch of the Boxcar
like
Children.
them?
She does too.
Yeah.
She loves Boxcar Children.
Oh yeah, the magic book. Is the Septnus Heap books, and then there are the Alchemist books that are are they the Nicholas Flamel?
Yes.
Those ones.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Anyways, tons of awesome books for this age range. If you have other ones that we didn't talk about, I would love you to leave them in the comments because I love finding new books.
I'm totally, leave them in the comments, and then I would love, or the comments on the blog post, and then I'll add to the blog post at the bottom reader recommendations.
For sure, that would be so fun. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure you like our pages. I am Ray Gun Ramblings, Deborah's Housewife Eclectic.
And if you're just joining us, share this to your wall so you can go back and see the beginning and see all the beginning books.
And then when we sign out, you'll be able to subscribe to the feed. And so anytime Deborah goes on or I go on with her, you'll be able to find us. We're going to do this maybe once a month.
I think so. So
we're
I'm not
excited.
sure what we're going to do next month.
But yeah, if you have any types of books you want recommendations for, let us know and we'll check it out. Okay, thanks for hanging out, guys.